Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the real United States. Welcome to Cumberland, Maryland. Now, Cumberland is a small town in western Maryland, very nearly to the westernmost end of it. And we're here next to a obelisk, which is essentially mile marker zero, or at least in this context, this is mile marker zero. Now, a while ago, I don't remember which one of our viewers asked, but somebody asked me to do a piece about the National Road. Well, this, in fact, is the beginning point of the National Road, and this marker here designates that beginning in 1811. Now, the National Road was the first federally oversaw project in road improvement and construction in the United States, starting in 1811. And it was only the second road in the entire nation that used a brand new, at the time, technique called the McAdam process for using aggregate and a cementitious material, cement, tar, whatever, to make a crust for a road surface. Now, the National Road started here in Cumberland, Maryland, and eventually ran all the way to central Illinois. Took about 5 years to construct that. Now, the National Road eventually, in about 1926, got its numeral designation as US Highway 40. To this day, most of it is still US Highway 40. However, portions of Highway 40 lay essentially on the same route, in this particular case, as Interstate Highway 68, or other interstate highways further along both east and west. Now, at some point in history, and I'm sorry I don't remember the date exactly, once this road was built, years later, it was decided then to extend it to the east, and this road, the National Road, was extended all the way to Baltimore, Maryland, which is on the extreme eastern end of the state. So this was, in fact, the foundations, the beginning of what eventually became the Eisenhower Interstate Highway System. General Eisenhower, actually President Eisenhower at the time, signed into law the bill necessary to create the interstate highway system. If memory serves me, that was in 1957. But those roads were built on the concepts built back in the early 1800s of the National Road. Now, this was a huge improvement because at that time, of course, the roads were just dirt, mud paths. It was traversing the countryside took days, weeks, depending on how far you were going, months. So this gave you a hard surface road now, that the first stretch of which was 73 miles long, incidentally, where you could traverse that at a very quick pace. Even in a stagecoach or a buggy at the time, you could make a lot more progress. And this was integral to the development of the infrastructure of our nation, development of our economy, and the growth of us as a nation. Now, the National Road, of course, as it extended off to Illinois, became the path for literally thousands of settlers going to settle the great west of the United States. So this particular, the National Road played a huge, huge role in the development of this country. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and drive down the bloody road and take pictures of highway. You know what a road looks like. And if I can find it, I'll go ahead and I'll put a picture of a map or something in here, or I'll put a link to it in the description down below. But this is where it all started, in this little tiny town of Cumberland, Maryland, and we are literally just a couple of hundred yards from the state of West Virginia. We're right along the banks of the headwaters of the Potomac River. The Potomac River, obviously, forming the boundary between the states of Maryland, West Virginia, Virginia, all the way down to scenes you've seen us shoot down in Washington, D.C. So to whoever it was that asked me to go ahead and do a piece about the National Road, I'm happy to have finally gotten up to a point of historical significance to go ahead and do that for you. We'd like to thank you all for joining us here on the Real United States. We hope you've enjoyed your visit here to mile marker zero of the National Road. We encourage you to go ahead and pick subscribe if you haven't done so already. Come along for the adventure. We love having everybody with us. If you've got questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. We try to get back to everybody we can. And as always, Thank you for watching.